Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good afternoon. So first of all, I introduce myself. My name Muhammad Imanuddin Akmal bin Ramli from AT101 4.1. So today I want to present about transportation tourism in Malaysia. So the first transportation in Malaysia start to the development from British colonial rules, and the country transport network is now deserve and development. Malaysia road network to its extension and covering 100,000 kilometer, including with expressway. The main highway of the country extend about 800 kilometer, reaching the Thai border from Singapore, and Peninsula Malaysia has an extensive road network, road system in East Malaysia. The main modes of transport in Peninsula Malaysia include bus, train, car, motorcycle, and airplane. Okay, next, it is a element of transportation in Malaysia. So the first is land. In Malaysia have a road network cover 100 kilometer, and use a expressway. The longest highway of the country, the North and South Highway, extend over 100 kilometer. Then from Kuala Lumpur to Terengganu have a East Coastway. The road system in Sabah and Sarawak are less developed and of lower quality in comparison to that of Peninsula Malaysia. The highway project construction of Pan Borneo Highway is approved under 2015 Malaysian budget, and driving on the left has been compulsory since the introduction of motor vehicle in Federal Malay State. Estimate that 1,000 passenger car is active using the road network in 2018. And next, we have railways. Okay, the railways have a system in state run. Most of the railway line are consistent of ballast setup along with concrete sleeper as a yearly due to the need for local supplier of such product, and a few local Malaysian rail manufacturing companies have been formed by collaboration with foreigner technology partner. Next, I have airways. Malaysia have 62 airport, which mean 36 are paved. The national airline is Malaysian Airline, providing international and domestic airline and domestic air service. Major international road and domestic road crossing between West Malaysian and East Malaysia are served by Malaysian Airline, SA Asia and Malindo Air, while smaller domestic road are supplemented by small airline like MS, Firefly and Berjaya Air. Major cargo include Mass Cargo and Transmail Air Service. And then next, waterways. In Malaysia have 7,200 kilometer of waterways. It's a most long and big than river. 1,500 kilometer from Sabah to Sarawak port and harbours, shuttle boat ferry to the Malacca to Sumatra ferry with anchor offshore near Malacca. Because Malaysia is strategic located in the Strait of Malacca, one of the important shipping lanes in the world. Malaysia have a two port waterway, the big waterway uh, in Port Klang and the Tanjung Karang. So the second and third busa port in Southern Asia after the port of Singapore. Port Klang is Malaysian busa port and the 13 busa port in the world, handling over 10.3 million Tier 2 Port of Tanjung Pelepas. So the next of the role of transportation. So the first the development of transportation system take place in a socio-economy as context, while development policy and strategy focus on physical capital. Recent year have seen a bit better balance by including human capital issue irrespective of the relative importance of physical versus human capital development cannot occur without goods interaction, as infrastructure cannot remain effective without proper operation and maintenance. At the same time, economic activities cannot take place without an infrastructure base. The highly transactional and service oriented function of many transportation active underline the complex relationship between its physical and human capital need. So for instance, effective logistic rely on infrastructure and managerial expansion. And next, we have effect of transportation tourism. So in transportation in tourism, have an economic effect. Characterization of the type of impact in conveys. This involve have three elements. Three elements. The physical characteristic of transportation, operation, and geographical dimension. So the first are core. Core, the most fundamental impact of transportation relate to the physical capacity to convey passenger and good and the associated cost to support by mobility. This involve setting of road enabling new or exciting interaction between economic entities. And second, operational. So operational improvement in the time performance, notably in term of reliability as well as reduce lose damage. This employer a better utilization level of existing transportation asset. Benefit is use passenger and freight conveys more rapidly and with fewer delay. And next, geographical access to a broader market base where economies of scale in production, distribution, and consumption can be improved. Increase in productivity from the access to a luggage and more diverse base of input and border market for diverse output. Another important geographical impact concerns the influence of transport on the location, its activity and its impact on land value. So the next opportunities of transportation. Now opportunities of transportation uh, have a have a six element. have a sea element, which mean have a seaport, river and canal, railways, road, airways and information technologies, and no single transport. Seaport have this historical importance of seaport in trade has been enduring. This important was enforced with early stage of Europe expansion from the 16th to the 18th centuries, commonly known as the Age of Exploration. Seaport support the yearly development of international trade through colonial empire, but constrained by limited inland access. And next, river and canal. River have a trade has prevailed through history, and even canal built where no significant altitude change exists since lock technology was rudimentary. And the first stage of the industrial revolution in the late 18th and 19th centuries was linked with the development of canal system with lock in Western Europe and North American. The permit has the permit development of rudimentary and constrained inland distribution system, many of which are still used today. So the next, the railway. The second stage of the industrial revolution in the 19th century was linked with the development and implementation of rail system, enabling more flexible and high capacity inland transportation system. And this opens substantial economic and social opportunities through the extraction of resource, the settlement of radiation, and the growing mobility of freight and passenger. And next, road. The 20th century saw the rapid development of comprehensive road transportation system, such as national highway system and automobile manufacturing as a major socio-economic sector. Individual transportation become widely available to mid-income social class. Particularly after the Second World War, this was associated with significant economic opportunities to service industrial and commercial market with reliable door-to-door deliveries. And next, airway and information technology. The second half of the 20th century saw the development of global air and telecommunication network in conjunction with economic globalization, new organizational and managerial form become possible, especially in the rapidly developing realm of logistics and supply chain management. And last, no single transport. No single transport mode has been solely responsible for economic growth. Instead, mode have been linked with the economic function, the support and the geography in which growth was taking place. The first trade route establishing the rudimentary system of distribution and transaction that would eventually be expanded by long distance maritime shipping network and then setting of the first multinational corporation managing this flow. Okay, and next, and negative and positive impact in transportation. Uh, we have four element. The added value, positive and negative employment impact of transportation service in tourism. Extend direct silent. For instance, uh, transportation companies purchase a part of their input, fuel, supply and maintenance from local supply. Then have first direct impact. The outcome of improved capacity and efficiency, where transport provide employment, add value, like largest market, as well as time and cost improvement, and the overall demand of the economy is increasing. And second, indirect impact. The outcome of improved accessibility and economy of scale, indirect value at end job, are the result of local purchase by companies directly independent upon transport activity. Transport activity are responsible for a wide range of indirect value add and employment effect. Uh, Supply firm and equipment and part supplier, maintenance and repair service, insurance companies, consulting and other business service must through the linkage of transport with other economic sector. And third, induce impact. The outcome of the economic multiplier effect, where the price of accommodation, good or service drop and their variety increase. For instance, the steel industry require the cost efficient import of iron and coal for the blast furnace and expose uh, activities for finished products such as steel bombs and coils. Manufacturers, retail outlet and distribution center handling important containerization, cargo rely on efficient transport and seaport operation. And last, timing of the development. The impact of is transportation can occur during concomitancy or take place after economic development. The late concomitant and lead impact make it difficult to separate the specific contribution of transport to the development. Each each case appears to be specific to a set of timing circumstances that are difficult to replicate elsewhere. And last, conclusion. The conclusion about transportation tourism is explicitly comparative in orientation. In analytically draw the similarities and of the term framework and policy introduced and discussed in the previous chapter. It also highlight a new contribution of emergency from the chapter for the both scholar and practitioner. The main issue that are conjoined perusal of the various contribution to the book, although the highlight are the role played by public policy in fostering solution that's aimed at increase the sustainability of transport in tourist destination, and the role of collaboration among stakeholder and of network for the implementation of sustainable transport policy and strategy, and the importance of the availability of information both on the supply side and on the demand side of the tourist market. And last, the importance of considering the trend of transport demand of tourists. So that's all for me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.